have you seen that movie? Did you like it? Well, I'm not here to promote the movie, of course, but as a creative person, I always notice the things that interest me. Pretty dresses, fabrics, and details. This pink plaid dress with a white petticoat caught my eye, and I decided to make my own version of it. I created this pink plaid dress with a puffy petticoat, a kid's version. And I'm here to share it with you. I hope it inspires you to make one yourself. This tutorial is here to help you do just that. A pink plaid dress can be perfect for a little girl, whether it's for her birthday, a themed photo shoot if she loves Barbies, or simply because she loves pink. The reasons to make one are endless. So join in and let's make this dress together. Let's look at the technical side first. The dress is constructed from a few parts: the front bodice, the back panel, and the straps that tie into bows at the shoulders. The skirt is a long rectangle gathered at the waist and finished with lace trim at the hem. The construction isn't complicated, but it does require well-organized, thoughtful steps, and I'll guide you through them. The size I'll be making is for a 5 to 6-year-old with a dress length of 55 centimeters, 22 inches from shoulder to hem. You can find the measurements for sizes 1 to 10 years in the pattern. The link to the pattern is below. We'll be making this dress in 3 major steps. Step 1 is making the bodice. Step 2, making the skirt. And step 3, joining bodice and skirt together. The materials and tools needed: pink plaid or gingham fabric main, white plain cotton lining, solid pink fabric, fusible interfacing, elastic band, fabric marker, threads, ruler, scissors, pins, safety pin, sewing machine. The fabrics I'm using for this dress are: for the main fabric, this pink gingham cotton poplin. I lay out my pattern pieces to see how much fabric I need. Then I cut the required amount and set the rest aside. Also, I cut off the selvage of the fabric. For the lining, plain white cotton. I'll also be using fusible interfacing for the top of the dress to give it a bit more structure. Then I cut the same amount of lining fabric, give it a good press, and iron the fusible interfacing onto both pieces. I'll be using the interfacing only for the front bodice and back panel of the dress, just to give more structure to the bodice. The rest of the parts don't require it. Once I have the main fabric and lining prepared, I lay them on top of each other with the right sides facing. Then I place the front bodice and back panel patterns on top. I pin them to the fabric, trace it, and cut out the pieces. The next step is to cut out the straps. For these, I'm using the pink gingham fabric for the outer side and a solid pink fabric for the lining. The straps will be two-sided, so when they're tied into bows at the shoulders, the solid pink will contrast nicely with the gingham pattern. I'm not adding fusible interfacing to the straps, as they need to stay softer than the bodice to tie into neat, flexible bows. After cutting the straps, I prepare them for sewing right away. I pin the gingham pieces to the solid pink pieces with the right sides facing each other. In total, we have 4 straps, 2 for the front and 2 for the back. So that's 8 pieces of fabric altogether, 4 in the gingham pattern and 4 in solid pink. The straps are the first pieces we need to sew, as they have to be ready before we can move on to assembling the top bodice. So that's what I'm doing now. Also, all 4 straps. I trim off the corners of each strap so they'll look neat and smooth once turned right side out. Then, I use a safety pin to help turn the straps. While sewing, I left about a 2-inch opening on the side of each strap. This makes it easier to turn them right side out. I turn the straps right side out, gently poke out the corners with scissors, flatten them with my fingers, and then give them a good press. Once all 4 straps are made and pressed, we're ready to move on to assembling the top bodice of the dress. First, we take the front bodice piece and gingham and pin the 2 front straps to the top, as shown on the screen. The front straps are the slightly shorter ones. After pinning, we secure the straps in place with the sewing machine. Next, we take the lining and place it on top of the gingham piece with the right sides facing each other. Pin around the top edge as shown, and sew with a narrow 0.5 centimeters, 1/5 of an inch seam allowance. I also use a smaller stitch here to make the seam stronger. For kids' clothing and similar garments, I often use a smaller stitch, and I recommend doing the same. Now you can see the close-up of it. Next, we need to snip into the seam at the very center of the bodice. This step is essential for achieving smooth, neat curves once the piece is turned right side out. I also trim the seam allowance down to about 2 to 3 millimeters. Both of these steps help create clean curves around the neckline and armhole areas after turning the garment. Then we can turn the bodice right side out. I pull the straps through, smooth out all the seams by hand, and give the entire piece a good press. The next step, guys, is to make the back panel. This will be an elastic back panel, which I love using for kids' dresses. With an elastic panel, you don't need zippers, button loops, tight backs, or any other complicated closures that can be tricky too. So it saves time and effort while still giving the dress a great fit and look. It's easy to put on and take off, and it's not difficult to make. I'll show you how it's done. We take the 2 cutout back panel pieces, the gingham and the white lining, and pin them together at the top, as shown. Then we sew along the top edge with the machine. After that, we turn the piece right side out and give it a good press. On the white lining side, we mark horizontal lines and sew along them. These will form the channels for the elastic. Follow the visual on the screen for guidance. To draw straight, evenly spaced lines, use the pattern piece as a guide. Place it next to your fabric piece, align it, and mark where the lines are on both sides of the panel. Then use a ruler to draw straight lines across. Make sure to use a marker that either evaporates or can be removed with water afterwards. Once the lines are marked, secure both layers of fabric with a few pins and sew along the lines with the machine. Now that the elastic channels are sewn, we can insert the elastic. I'm using elastic that's 1.5 centimeters, 0.59 inch wide. The exact length to cut for each size is provided in the chart included with the pattern. Cut the required elastic pieces, then use a safety pin to insert them one by one into each channel. Secure the ends of each elastic piece with pins. Once all the elastics are inserted, sew along the side edges of the panel with the sewing machine to lock them in place on both sides. And now that we have the front bodice and the back panel sewn, it is time to assemble them into one complete top bodice piece. We take the front bodice and separate the lining from the gingham fabric, laying it flat as shown on the screen. Then we take the back panel and pin it to the side of the front bodice, with gingham facing gingham, as shown on the screen. We now sew along the pinned edge with the machine. First, we sew along the pinned edge while keeping the white lining out of the way. Then we go back over the same seam, this time bringing the lining over the back panel and sewing along the same line again. Just follow the steps shown on the screen. Trim off the little corner and turn the piece right side out again. Now, one side of the panel is attached to the bodice, and we need to attach the other side. To do this, we repeat the same step as before. Separate the gingham and the lining of the bodice and lay the piece flat. Then take the loose side of the back panel and bring it to the loose side of the bodice, pinning them together with the gingham sides facing each other. Then we repeat the same sewing steps. First, sew along the edge with the lining out of the way. Next, bring the lining over the seam and sew along the same line again. Trim off the little corner and turn the piece right side out. Now both sides are joined to the front bodice. And the bodice is complete, guys. Give the seams a good press and check how nicely the back panel stretches. One last bit, actually before it is completely complete, we need to add the back straps. There are two ways to attach the straps. I'll be showing the simpler method, sewing the straps onto the finished back panel. There's also a neater method where you sew them into the panel before adding the elastic, but this way is still clean, looks good, and is easier to do. I don't want to overcomplicate the process, especially for beginners. I want to keep it as easy as possible for you. I place the straps about 2 centimeters 3/4 inch from the side, seams on both sides, and pin them in place. Then I sew them down with the machine, stitching over the existing seam. And that's it, the straps are attached. Now, the bodice is fully complete, and I want to try it on the mannequin to make sure everything looks good. I think it looks great, I'm happy with it. So now it's time to move on to making the skirt. The skirt is made from a long rectangle that's gathered tightly at the waist. Since this dress is to be worn with a petticoat underneath, the rectangle needs to be extra long. In other words, there has to be plenty of fabric so it spreads nicely over the petticoat. The exact measurements for how much fabric is needed for each size are provided in the chart included with the pattern. I take my gingham fabric, give it a good press, fold it in half, then fold it in half again, and cut out the rectangles. I need a 5 meter, 16 foot long rectangle. Since the fabric width is 140 centimeters, 55 inch, I'll need to cut and join 4.5 fabric widths to achieve the required length. I pin the rectangles together at the sides and sew them with the machine. Just make sure you pin good side to the good side. I always double checking that. After sewing, I press the seams well. My next step is to add lace trimming. I want the dress to have this lace detail at the bottom to blend nicely with the petticoat, so I'll be using this cute cotton lace trim. I take my long gingham rectangle and pin the lace trimming to the bottom edge, with the right sides facing each other. Then I sew it with the machine and overlock the seam. After that, I give it another good press. And the piece is ready to be gathered. I gather the skirt using my regular sewing machine. If you're not sure how to gather fabric, I've made a separate video explaining the process. I'll leave the link to it in the first comment below. Okay guys, so we've come to the third step, attaching the skirt to the bodice. First, we need to close the side seam of the skirt. This is done simply by pinning it and sewing it with the machine. Press the seam and lay your skirt flat. As you can see, the width of the skirt is about twice the width of the bodice. That's exactly how it should be. We'll be pinning the skirt to the bodice while gathering it even more. Where we have the stretchy back panel, we'll pin the skirt with the panel fully stretched. We will sew it with the machine that way too. This way, the skirt and the panel will stretch together when putting the dress on and taking it off. That's what allows us to skip zippers and buttons while still being able to put the dress on and take it off easily and have it fit nicely too. It's all thanks to the magic of the stretchy back panel. After pinning everything carefully, sew it with the machine carefully as well. This step requires a bit more effort and attention because of all the gathers. Take it slow, step by step, and keep checking the gathers underneath to make sure they're lying flat, evenly distributed, and not getting caught in the seam. Another part that requires some extra effort is the stretchy panel. As I mentioned earlier, you need to stretch the panel while sewing. That's the only way it will remain stretchy afterward. Gently pull the panel with one hand and maneuver the fabric with the other. I also recommend sewing around this seam twice to make sure it's strong and secure. We're sewing the waist seam here, and this particular seam will be used a lot, every time the dress is put on or taken off, so it needs to be durable and long-lasting. So when the waist is sewn, I overlock the seam and the dress is finished, guys. I press the waist seam and give the gathers a light press as well. As you can see, the skirt is gathered very tightly, creating a wide full shape that will easily accommodate the petticoat underneath. This is how the dress looks without a petticoat. You definitely don't need to use one. It can easily be worn without and still look beautiful. The bottom lace edge adds a lovely touch on its own. But my plan was to wear it with a petticoat, so I'm going all the way. I have a separate video on how to make this petticoat, so if you'd like to make one too, be sure to check it out. I'll add the link in the comments section. So I put the petticoat on the mannequin first, then I put the dress on and voila, guys. Here is a full look I was going for. We have a nicely fitted bodice, lovely straps tied into bows at the shoulders, and a playful, puffy, bouncy skirt. What a joy for a little girl to spin in. Let me know what you think. Do you like making dresses for little girls? Did this dress inspire you? I hope that it did. And if you're not a pink fan, you can always use this pattern with different fabrics and achieve your own look. Oh, and where has all the pink gone? I think I'm finished with pink for now. I really enjoyed this project, but I'm already thinking about the next one. Here's a little sneak peek of what's coming. Since we're already in mid-October, my thoughts are naturally turning to the festive season. Black, sparkles, lace, tulle. So many ideas. I really want to thank you for joining me for this project, guys. I hope it was helpful. If you're curious about the next one, I'm looking forward to seeing you there. Please press like and subscribe if you found this video useful and don't want to miss the next one. And don't hesitate to ask any questions in the comments. I'll be happy to reply. Also, check the comments section for links to related videos and the pattern. Till next time.